This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, where in a single moment you can recognize your brilliance and change your life. This is a transformational hour that covers an array of topics that demonstrate how individuals use their native talents, as shown in their names, to look at the ordinary in extraordinary ways. Albert Einstein once said that everybody's a genius. Why would one of the smartest people on the planet declare that everyone is a genius unless he knew it to be true? I'm your host, Sharon Lynn Wyeth, creator of Namology Science and author of Know the Name, Know the Person. And in each weekly show, you'll hear the fascinating ways other people discovered the genius in them and what they were able to accomplish. At the end of each show, you'll hear clues on how you can recognize your own innate genius. All over the world, people have many, many diverse interests. And in that vein, people have asked about different occupations and areas of life that have highly interested them. People want to know how highly successful people have managed to achieve their genius mindset by utilizing the gifts that are seen in their name using namology science. So how does someone express their creative talents, and how does someone share those gifts with others in such a way that all benefit? Our expert tonight is Margo Mateas, who has developed her genius in the area of healing. Margo is an award-winning writer, scientifically verified healer, ordained minister, and spiritual teacher who has helped thousands of people in more than 12 countries around the world. Margo's divine clairvoyance has been featured on major media outlets, including Coast to Coast AM, Sirius XM, and Fade to Black. She is the creator of Angelic Soul Clearing and works directly with archangels and other high vibrational guides to clear the soul of darkness. She has a unique ability to see into energy centers and locate hidden entities and/or energies that are blocking a person's ability to heal and be happy. Devoutly religious and spiritual, Margo had her first premonition at age of 8. At 13, she began having dreams in which she was interacting with angels. By the age of 14, she became a lay minister and professional speaker. She is now the lead pastor of Freed by the Light Ministries. Margo used her insights as an investigative reporter and newspaper editor for 10 years before working for the world's largest public relations firm, becoming an internationally known trainer and executive coach to organizations including Google, Verizon, and the Red Cross. She has been featured speaker for the American Medical Association and American Cancer Society, and so many others. She's the author of the popular oracle, The Career Cards, A Practical Guide to Life, and conducts online courses, workshops, speaking engagements, and retreats all over the world. Margo's name indicates that she has fairness issues, as she wants the world to be a fair place. She finds it easier to stand up for others than she does in standing up for herself. She's had to learn how to do that. Interestingly, her name indicates that she's excellent at identifying sabotage of the self and how to bring out the best in others. Her name also indicates that she'll be well known for whatever she does and remembered long after she is gone. In other words, the people she assists will always remember her. Margo's name also indicates that she has experienced some real hardships in her life, things most would have a challenge overcoming. What is that saying? What doesn't kill us makes us stronger? Well, Margo has overcome in spades and is quite remarkable in a myriad of ways. Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You radio show, Margo.
It's delightful to be here. Thank you so much for that wonderful read-in and the insight into my name. That's fascinating.
You're most welcome. We have less than 2 minutes to start with until our first break. But in that time, can you tell us what it felt like to dream about interacting with angels?
Well, I was just talking about that last night. It was so strange because in the dreams, I was hanging out with invisible people. And there were a number of them, and they were invisible, and they were taller than me, and they were showing me things. And at the time, they were asking me to trap these other invisible growling things and to trap them. And so I did that, and that's what happened in the dreams. And now, all these years later, I realized that they were actually training me to deal with demons.
Did the growling things sound like dogs or worse?
It sounded like a cat. Like a cat growling.
Okay, just making sure. We want to know what those growls sound like in case we start hearing them.
Absolutely.
We need to
sound like the horror movies, a little bit of pigs and stuff like that, but yeah.
Okay, well, maybe those producers have heard things in the past, and so they're recreating them. Okay, we need to take a break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which can also be heard on knowthename.com. After the break, we'll find out how Margo discovered and developed her gift of being able to see inside of a person's body and how she developed the ability to then know what to do with what she saw. Margo's website, there's two of them. One is her name, margomateas.com, and the other is getrealanswers.com. This is going to be a terrific show, guys. Wait till you hear what she's able to do. I've been quite astounded myself after talking with her on many different levels. This is going to be a delight. Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies,
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows,
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. Our guest tonight is Margo Mateas, whose website is getrealanswers.com and freedbythelight.com. Margo, please describe how you got started in this field. I mean, like, what happened that led you in such a young age to explore spirituality?
I think it has a lot to do with what you said. I didn't have an easy life, and religion was an outlet. Religion always seemed to be embedded in me, you know, from very, very young. It was just part of the fabric of my being, and it was a lens through which I saw the world, and it was where I went for answers. So it was always with me. I didn't start doing anything, quote-unquote, psychic until much later in my life, although I always used my intuition. I remember I was, you know, young, of course, being a lay minister and a speaker and all those things, and I would go to the store and I'd be buying something, and I knew I had a certain amount of money in my bank account, and Spirit would tell me, yes, you can buy this, or no, you can't. And there were times when I knew I had money in the account and Spirit said no when I was standing at the checkout. And I always went with what Spirit said. And sure enough, I'd have a tire blow out on my car or a bill that I didn't expect or something. And so they really taught me at a very young age that they knew what was going on better than I did. And I'm so sorry, excuse me. And it was kind of like just, you know, gradual reliance on understanding that, you know, somebody other than me had a better idea of what was going on in my life than I did.
So what were your stumbling blocks along the way? I mean, I think it's pretty unusual what happened with you, and certainly there must have been times that you really questioned what was happening. Was it real?
Oh, I question that all the time. I'm super, super left brain. I mean, I was a great investigative reporter. I love facts. I love reality. I love verifications. You know, I love those things. So to this day, you know, I'll have an amazing mind-blowing session with somebody like I did actually have last night. And I'll wake up in the morning and go, oh, that didn't really happen. I have to move in and out of the matrix to keep my sanity, because otherwise I would just lose it. I really would.
When did you decide or feel comfortable with the fact that you had a bona fide talent?
I would say very recently, and I'm 53. It's taken a long time for that to be, in my mind, as valuable as the stuff I did in the world up to this point. You know, I really enjoyed the prestige of being an international trainer, and I had a niche market in the public relations field, and still do to some degree. But I thought that was like as good as it was going to get. And then when the recession happened and I started writing the career cards, which is actually how I started into the soul clearing, I really had to really examine, like, what am I really here for, and what is going to bring me my greatest bliss and my happiness and my soul purpose. And, you know, it wasn't training companies in those types of things. It was really speaking to the soul of a person and really helping them free themselves from whatever was holding them back.
Okay,
so
you
this
mentioned
really just happened recently.
so Well, we're glad you came along this pathway because I know so many people that you've been helping. What are those
Thank
career
you.
cards that you mentioned? Are they solely about careers or do they speak to everything?
They speak to everything. The angels and I argued about the title because I am in marketing. I was like, they're just gonna think they're for careers, and they said there's nothing else out there that's called the career cards, which was true, and still is true. And there's other life purpose cards and different types of oracles. So the career cards are very unique, but they do answer questions on absolutely everything. One lady was missing her cat, and she drew a card, and she got the mechanic card. And her next door neighbor came over the next day and said, "Your cat's in my garage, I think."
Oh, and that was the mechanic.
The mechanic, yes. So, I mean, seriously, they've helped people figure out like where to live, what not only where what to do for a living, but where to live. Should I do an intervention for my child who's on drugs? They had answers for that. They've got answers for everything, everything.
Well, that's always helpful because I know we're always looking for answers and we're always wanting more input. You have a gift of being able to see inside a person's body. From your vantage point, what does that look like from the inside? What are you seeing when you go into someone's body?
I usually see the chakras like an oval room. So it's literally like I'm entering a room, and it's an oval space, and it's like I'm in the center of the doorway, and whatever's happening in that room, I'll see. Sometimes the room is an oval room, sometimes it's a cave, sometimes it's a dungeon. It depends on, the energies that are trapped there. But most of the time, it appears to me like a room, like a contained space. And then there's something happening in that room where there's people in that room. And some of the rooms are supposed to be a certain way every time, like your brain is a command center. There's certain things that are supposed to be in certain places. And if they're not there, then I know something's going wrong.
How did you know how to develop the ability to know what to do with what you saw? I mean, it's one thing to be able to see it, but it's another thing to know that this belongs and that doesn't belong, and how do we get rid of that stuff that doesn't belong? How did you learn how to do that piece?
I asked the angels. I wish I could tell you that I was just so smart to do this on my own, but I didn't. I can tell you exactly the day it happened and what I did. I was doing a career card reading for a woman in Australia. And she was very depressed and very stuck. She'd been divorced for about 1.5 years. And I was doing this career card reading, and it just didn't feel right. And so I asked my guides, because I always, even when I do a career card reading, I don't do anything without invoking spirits and bringing them in. And so they were always present. And I said, "What does she need?" And they said, "She doesn't need this." And I said, "I know." And they said, "Do this." And so I just literally opened my mouth, and I let the angels, tell me the exact words to say. And then some of the stuff started to unfold, and then I saw her pain, and the angels reached in and lifted it out of her chest, took it out of her heart, and then they replaced it with light. And, she was a lot better, right, instantly. And I thought, wow, what is that? And that's what was the seed of angelic soul clearing. And since then, it's taken on a routine and a process and, very orderly, but I don't do anything without knowing, that my guides and my angels are right there. Absolutely.
Okay, now that makes it sound really easy. So I want to know, when the angels go in and lift that out, does that take 5 minutes of our time, an hour of our time? Are they struggling with the weight of it? I mean, what have you witnessed when you've seen them do that?
I've seen all of those things. I've seen all of those scenarios. There's times when they'll just, in the blink of an eye, and that lifelong pain is gone. It literally just evaporates. They take it away. There's times when the pain doesn't want to go, or the person is kind of attached to it because they can't imagine a better future. And then that takes longer. And then we have to kind of stop the process and break it down and do some dialogue with the person and maybe take it out in a different way or a little bit at a time. And then there's times when it has been so heavy that it's required a couple of angels to actually carry it off. But I've seen the whole gamut of, from instant to, my longest session was 4 hours, and that gentleman is in the book. His name is Josh, and yeah, that was a long session, and he actually had some amazingly bad things inside of him that he actually captured as an artist. And it's just a stunning. The whole story is just amazing. You guys got to read it. And
Oh,
you're not
that's
gonna
in
see
your
me
Freed by
quoting
the
any
Light book,
drawings like that. That is in my
right?
Freed by the Light book that I'm working on right now, right?
Okay. So I've heard you talk at different times about energetic dragons. What is an energetic dragon so that we're all on the same wavelength?
Sure. To me, an energetic dragon is a specific type of energetic predator. It comes from the nether realms or just other dimensions, and it kind of just moves into our energy field and then surrounds us. And it drains our energy. It can attract other negative energy. It's basically a cosmic invader.
Oh, that doesn't sound very pleasant at all. Do they all look about the same, or do they come in a variety of shapes, sizes, colors, that kind of thing?
I love these questions. They're so great. They come in all colors, believe it or not. I was very surprised by that because one time I was dealing with a woman and she had severe endometriosis. And she said, I never have regular periods. And so I got inside and she had this beautiful dragon in her that was very multicolored and, teals and browns and golds and just beautiful. But it was still a dragon. And it had actually lined her uterus with its eggs, which I see very frequently. And that's why she had no room for her own organs and such. And so when I went to remove it, the dragon actually was like, well, I've actually been protecting this space because she was molested and I don't want anybody else in here. So I'm just going to hang out in here until I know she's safe. And it had been there for about 20 years. And so in dealing with her and, allowing her to touch into that pain and allowing the angels to remove the residue of that pain and trauma, then that dragon was able to move along. But I've seen them, again, from like that color, and it kind of ranges from their level of benevolence. So the more colorful they are, the more benevolent they are. The darker and more shadowy they are, the more nefarious.
Okay, now that's kind of like how movies show it to us. The bright is beautiful and the dark is not so good.
That's the way I see it.
Okay, that agrees with some of the portrayals in some movies. Some children have been abused as they were growing up. What remnant does that leave in the body when you're inside? What does that look like? How can you tell if a child's been abused?
Well, there's the number 3 is coming to mind, so I guess I have 3 points to say about it. First of all, I will see the darkening of the chakra. When I do my initial sweep through the system, that chakra will show up as completely dark. Sometimes I'll hear the screaming of trapped energies. Sometimes I'll hear a small child actually wailing and crying. I'll hear the trauma that's trapped in the system. And then other ways that I can find it and know about it is once I get in there, the angels will often either show me a video of what actually happened, or they'll tell me specific ages. So I have had several clients, and one of these is in the book also, Freed by the Light, a gentleman who was dealing with heroin addiction, and his mom felt strongly that I could help him, and he had an entity, and several of them, but the angels, they were just dead on. They said, this happened with your dad when you were 7. And he said, yes. And then I said, and then you started doing drugs when you were 14. Yes. I said, and then 2 years later, this happened. Yes, yes. So again, this is not me. I'm just a conduit for these amazing energies that are helping everybody.
It just seems amazing that you're able to go in there and actually lift out the energy. Of course, the angels are doing it through you, but you're able to get in there and do that so that people then can have what we want to call a normal life afterwards. Do you see a great transition in people after they've worked with you? Sometimes it's got to take more than one session, right?
Yes. One of the most rewarding sessions I've ever had was with a 77-year-old woman who called me, and her voice was heavy with pain and heavy with sorrow. And you could tell how burdened she was. And she said she had a lot of pain in her back. She wasn't able to move easily. And she said, yes, I have a lot of sadness and bitterness over my life. And I said, I know you do. And I said, but that's okay. The angels will get rid of that. And she said, what? And I said, the angels will get rid of it. She said, they can do that?
We want to hear what happened to her right after this next break. We need to take a break, even though we're just getting started with this fascinating topic. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. This show's dedicated to insights learned from exploring the inner currents of a person's mind and body. After the break, we'll find out about some of the different ways Margo has assisted others. Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies,
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows,
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world. There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the 4 corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Margo Mateas, who can be reached via her website, which is getrealanswers.com and freedbythelight.com. Margo, before the break, you were telling us about the 77-year-old lady and what happened to her, but we didn't get to hear the results of after the clearing. Then what happened?
Well, it was great because she said, "Can they really do that?" And I said, "Yes, they really do that." And they really did that. And she said it was the happiest moment of her entire life. She said,
Wow,
"I have never been this happy. I have never been this free. I have never felt this light." And it was amazing what happened, Sharon, because not only did they free her from her pain, but in this process, people get a new light body. So they can actually sort of swap out all that old toxic, corrupted crap that we accumulate here on Earth and have an energetic kind of reset. They can get like a new, vibrant light body. And so when the angels, it was like they were kind of waiting for her to come through, because as soon as they got her in their field, they took her on some amazing journeys. And they literally took her up to heaven, and they showed her all these places, and they took her to a palace, and she was flying all over the place, and she was just having a ball. And when we got her up to the heavenly palace, she got her new light body. She said, I have never, ever, ever felt this amazing. So to me, that's the most rewarding, even though people have literally been healed of drinking, heroin addiction, abuse, physical problems. It runs the gamut. It's just amazing.
Have you been able to help anybody get pregnant when they're, quote unquote, past the age of pregnancy?
No, I haven't. I've had some people talk to me about that kind of like parenting issues. One time the angel said that the person was not supposed to reproduce. Those were the words used. And then another time a lady came to my booth when I was doing the career card reading, and she said, "I really want to get pregnant." And I said, "You already have kids." And she says, "No, I don't." I said, "Yeah, you do." I said, you have 2 kids. They're 4 and 7, a boy and a girl." She said, "Those are my nieces and nephews." And I said, "Well, you're their mom." And she said, "You're right. Like, their mom's a drug addict, and I'm always taking care of them." So, but no, like fertility stuff, I actually am going to be working with a woman who is having a bunch of miscarriages. And I'm going to go in and see if it's a curse or if it's karma or, what the deal is. But so far, no, I have not been asked to do that.
Well, I was going to say that's the question I hear the most often, so I want to make sure I asked. We've heard people say when they were abused at childhood that perhaps they deserved the mistreatment that occurred to them, or that's what they needed to go through and able to progress on their spiritual path or to get, where they were going. And I know you feel really strongly about that. What do you say to that?
I say that's a load of dark hooey. I think that it's a lie perpetuated by the dark to justify its abuse. I've done more than 2,500 clearings on people all over the world, and only in one person do the angels actually say, "Yes, you drew this bad event too." It was not a childhood sexual abuse. They have never said that. And believe me, I have a fair amount of my practice of people who've endured that, of course. They've never said that. They showed me sometimes the parent was possessed, actually. Sometimes they were crazy. Sometimes they were drunk. They were always under the influence of the dark in some way or another, or acting out their unconscious pain themselves. It's never been, you were a bad person and you needed to learn to be a good person by being abused.
And it wasn't something, for those people that believe in reincarnation, it wasn't something that they brought in and they needed to experience this to balance the scales.
In my personal practice, no. But I will say this. My first partner was heinously abused by her father. After he passed over, this was one of the first visions I actually had. I was probably in my early 20s, probably 21, 22. And he had crossed over, and he came to me, and he was crying. He said, "From where I've been, I've seen everything I've done, and I'm so sorry." I said, "Okay." And he said, what can I do? And I said, you have to let her go, because he was still holding on. And her recovery started to make leaps and bounds at that point. A couple years later, he came in through a medium that we were seeing, and he told her, he said, because of how I abuse sexuality, I will be denied sexuality for 7 lifetimes.
Wow.
Now, he didn't say how that would happen, but he was very, very clear about it. And I'm a sexual abuse survivor. She's a sexual abuse survivor. I wish that every sexual abuse survivor had been in that room that night to hear what he said, because it's what every person needs to hear their perpetrator say. He took full accountability for his own demons and how they worked out on her. And he was not actually anything with the light. This was just him being really out of balance. And he took complete responsibility. It was one of the most healing things that I've ever heard in my life, because that's what people need. They need somebody to say, I'm sorry. What child deserves to be raped or abused? No child. No child.
Yeah, and children come in so innocent and so trusting. You know, at one of the schools where I was a teacher, I have usually volunteered to work at schools where more people are deprived, or they don't have the whereabouts or the resources, you know, to really take care of their children well. And so the children come into the schools highly needy, and I've always been attracted to work in those schools. And there was an issue with a lady, one of the teachers, coming up with sexual abuse, and we were talking about it, and other people overheard us when they came into the teacher's room. And then people started coming to me and talking, and by the time that year was over with, over half of the female teachers on that staff had experienced physical abuse. And I thought, this is a lot more rampant than what we're aware of.
Oh, you know? Yes, absolutely. I mean, they say the statistics are 1 in 6 girls and 1 in 4 boys, but it's probably way, way more than that. And I do find that the lighter the soul, the more encumbrances they face, the more obstacles. You know, God puts the brightest candles in the darkest room. I used to say, now I say the dark puts the brightest candles in the darkest room. I figured out it wasn't God.
That was one of the quotes I was going to ask you to say. I've heard you say that, you know. Did you ever see anything, Margo, that scared you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, usually the things that you would see in horror movies don't really bother me. I'll actually like laugh at them, or just snap them in half, or just go, please, you know, knock it off, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I've seen all manner of monsters and dragons and beasts and demons, many demons. But the scariest thing I ever saw so far was a woman's father. And actually two women's fathers that had both been abused, and they were just monstrous. Their energy was just really abusive and horrible, and they didn't want to play nice. It's easier to get some of the darker energies to behave because they're under the authority of something that you have authority over, or in that moment. But these kinds of souls that are just really vicious and violent and narcissistic and bullying, to me, those are the scariest ones. And it could also be part of my own wounding because I had a bullying father. But to me, most things that would make the other people's, you know, toes fall off, I just sort of like, because it's just another day at the office, you know.
Well, and I think all of us have what I want to call those vulnerable spots because of our past that cause us to go back to that vulnerable thing and what happened at any time. You know, I've always considered my brain to be organized like a library with rows of books containing information that I've learned and stored, and that when I hear something new that doesn't fit into my current paradigm, I find myself putting it on a special shelf to be stored in case something else causes this new idea to make sense and be worth keeping, or, you know, I eventually revisit them and throw things out. And when we spoke and you went inside of me, you literally described my brain in this very same fashion as rows of books with this shelf over here. And that was truly kind of awesome, but that's what made me the believer. It was like, oh yeah, so how many brains are organized that way, or do we all organize them differently?
Yes, you have a delightful brain. That's a very cozy reading book brain. And I love how it expanded during our session. You were kind of cramped to start with, and then at the end you were kicking back and your feet were on the desk, and you're like, oh, this is great. I really am enjoying all this new space. So that was great. But everybody's brain is different. Like it's set up the same, like in the same way that we all live in a house of some sort, and it's arranged differently. But yeah, yours was very, very organized. And I've gotten into men's brains that have been architects, and they have the white tables and the equipment there. And yeah, it's pretty funny. It really is. It really tracks to the person.
Margo, the first vowel of an A, those people love to read and they love to learn, like you have it in your name and I have it in mine. And that's what I figure is all the books in there. So if you went into your own brain, would you find the bookshelves or all the books or stored knowledge bins? Or I'm just wondering
I just looked in my head for the first time. It's really tall, like it's like an old-fashioned library where it has the the ladder that goes around. It's many shelves high, and lots of arcane knowledge. Thank you for taking me into my own head, because I never do this stuff for myself. So that's interesting. Very, very arcane knowledge, very old knowledge, but everything is sort of dusted pretty much. But I am a true genius, Sharon, because my desk is messy as heck. So this is how I know that I'm a true genius, Creative minds are rarely tidy is one of my favorite sayings. And so, yeah, I can't promise you that my brain would be very highly organized, but I do see it now and it's a lovely library, yes.
Well, it's interesting, if you were knowing all of namology science, it'd be very interesting to see if there were patterns connected with the placement of the letters for how I see the attributes, and then go into the body and say, oh yeah, the ones with these have organized themselves this way. I just think it'd be interesting. Maybe I'll have to learn how to go in and look.
Yeah, really.
Do you have a really
that I changed?
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That reminds me of the joke that literally was a lady was pregnant and she went in to see the doctors and she says, I've seen a lot of those people out there and they're not very polite. And I want polite babies. So what can I do? And the doctor said, every day when you get up in the morning, say all the polite sayings you can think of, please and thank you, and if you'd be so kind. And every night before you go to bed, say all the polite sayings you can say, please and thank you, and if you'd be so kind, and all the nice things you can possibly think of. So she did this absolutely every day and every night because she wanted to make sure she had polite babies. And finally it came time for her to give birth, and she became overdue, and the babies still weren't ready to come out. And there was so much time that went by that they said, we're going to have to do a C-section. And the doctors went in and the babies were saying, no, you first. No, you first. Anyway, well, we need to take our last break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. After the break, we'll find out what Margo Mateas has in her name that assisted her that you may have in your name as well.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Margo Mateas, whose website is getrealanswers.com and freedbythelight.com. Margo has taken her healing skills to a level where she's able to see what energies need to be shifted to make a difference in someone's life. Margo, I've heard you say the Lords of Karma put the brightest lights in the darkest places. I love that statement. Do you have other statements that you like to say a lot that just kind of sum things up for you?
I do. But don't ask me what they are right now. They're not in my brain.
Okay. What is an angel?
I know you're a good enough interviewer. You can switch modes here.
Yeah, it's okay. What is an angelic soul healing? What does it all entail, and why did you name it that?
I didn't name it that. That's what the angel said it was. So it's angelic soul clearing, and that's basically what it is. So it's not me doing the soul clearing. It's the angel. So when when I work on someone, that's the big difference. It's not a healing modality that's based on anything other than bringing the angels in and letting them do what they can do in this dimension, which is astounding and phenomenal. The things that they can lift out of a person, the things that they can change, the entities that they can banish, the darkness that they can lift, the wisdom and compassion that they can convey, and usually all within an hour. It's just astounding.
Well, I know that my friend, Bill, I won't use his last name, that recommended you to me. He was so incredibly pleased with the amazing amount of work that you did with him when he was having all those eye surgeries, and he wasn't really progressing until he saw you and had a few sessions, and then it was just like night and day to him. And so I've heard, and since then I've heard many other stories, and it's just remarkable what the angels are able to do through you. Would you tell us about your book, Margo, Freed by the Light? Does it cover, and what would we learn by reading it?
Yeah, Freed by the Light it's a book about how the supernatural affects our lives. So most of us think of the supernatural like the paranormal. We kind of divide it, right? It's like, oh, we're cool with angels, and oh, there's ghosts, right? And we think of it in terms of being really separated, right? Kind of into light and dark. But the reality is that there's a lot of things, good and bad, that are affecting us in very profound ways. And so Freed by the Light is the stories of the people that I've helped in the angelic soul clearing process all over the world, and their amazing transformations. And, like your friend Bill's actually in the book. And some other people who, again, they've been saved from addiction. One lady called me, she was an RN. She said, I can't stop drinking. I just started to go to sleep at night, and now it's every day, and I can't stop. I just have this weird push-pull thing in me, and I can't stop. Now, one important distinction, you kind of asked me, like, how is this different, is I never have any expectations. I never have any presupposed anything. I'm a blank slate when I do this process, and I just go in to see what's there. So when I got inside of her, there was literally, it looked like the alien from the Alien movies, the alien queen, big and black and shiny, and it was snapping a whip. You will drink. You will drink. You will
wow.
drink. Yeah, and I have chills of those on that. And so I looked at the angels and said, well, let's get rid of it. They said, absolutely. So they got rid of it, and literally in that moment, my clients say this over and over again, they feel it themselves in the moment when it happens. They say, it's gone. I can feel it leave my body. I don't have that compulsion anymore. I'm not depressed anymore. Whatever it is that they've been suffering with, they actually feel it leave them. And so she said, oh my God, it's gone. That pressure to drink is gone. And it just left. She never had a urge to drink again. She called me 30 days later and said, I'm absolutely completely sober, and thank you so much. So
that's gotta feel good.
It's incredibly gratifying, because I get people who are so tormented, and they've been suffering for such a long time, and they're dealing with powerful supernatural forces that they don't even know exist. And we wouldn't think to go look for, maybe there's an alien snapping a whip in your brain making you drink, No,
I think it was your drinking that caused you to think that there's an alien in your brain.
Probably true, exactly. But in her case, it wasn't that way. And then I had another woman, a friend of mine, called me and said, my daughter, it just turned anorexic. And she said she hasn't eaten anything today. And she said, can you look out on her? So I did. And I actually saw like a hag, like a curse, like a witch. And so I said, did somebody give her something recently? And she thought about it. She said, she's been wearing this T-shirt. The story's in the book, too. She said she's been wearing this T-shirt for a long time recently, which is kind of weird. And it's from an athletic team that we're involved with. And she said, oh, my God. She said, we accused the head of the team of embezzlement. And then afterwards, we got all these shirts from her. And the weird thing is that the minute that she was actually texting me. The minute she started texting me, her daughter had no idea she was doing any of this. Her daughter started to eat. It was 6:30 at night. She hadn't had a bite to eat all day. As soon as her mother connected to me energetically, she started to eat. The angels gave them this enormously complex thing they had to do to clear the curse completely. They did. That night she ate ice cream. The next day she ate 1,700 calories, and she's been on the road to recovery ever since.
That is so tremendous. You know, we always hear about the light and we hear about the dark, and it just like a light switch, the light can, brighten up the dark and it doesn't exist anymore. I've always wondered though, is there a spectrum between the light and the dark? I mean, most colors are on a spectrum. You have the dark of that color and the very light of that color, and you have all those shades in between. Is that the same with the light and the dark, or is it very crystal clear that this is dark and that is light?
No, you're totally right, Sharon. It's a huge spectrum. And that's kind of what Food by the Light talks about, too. It kind of clues you into what's in that spectrum and how it may be affecting you, even though it's invisible, right? We can't really see it with our human eyes, but I can see it through clairvoyant senses, and, of course, other clairvoyants can see into certain aspects of those dimensions, too. It's very gradiated, very gradiated.
Okay, so my friend who sometimes when we have encounters that are not as pleasant, and she'll look at me, she'll go, that one was just a low light. So she could be right. She calls
definitely.
people of highlight or low light. She doesn't call them dark and light. She calls them highlights and lower lights.
I can see that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their flame is not quite as bright. If you could change one thing about people's understanding or how they look at the world, what would that be?
It's hard for me to limit my choices to one, so I'm going to go for two.
Okay.
That's probably indicated in my name as well. And I want to tell you, too, I changed my name to Margo when I was older, so I don't know if that affected anything. I actually went to court when I was 16 and changed it legally. But to answer your question, and I forgot your question now.
If you could change one thing about people.
Right. Two things. Yes. The first thing I would want people to know, and I try to do this in Free by the Light, is to let them wake up to the fact that supernatural things are affecting you. This poor nurse had a drinking problem because of an alien invader. That's a fact. It's just a fact. Your friend, Bill, had this issue with his eye. It was related to his emotions. Wasn't physical at all. So there's a whole range of things that are actually affecting people that they have no awareness of, and I want to change that. The second thing that I want them to understand through Freed by the Light is that the light is always there. The light is always there, even though we battle such darkness. Every single time I go to bat for someone's soul, the light comes in and saves them. Every single time. And we forget that because we're in a dimension where there's a lot of darkness, and the darkness prevents the light from getting to us. But the light is always there. And tools like angelic soul clearing and other healing can really bring that light to us, and life doesn't have to be so hard anymore. It can be joyous and peaceful and light.
So let's say somebody wanted to call in the light for themselves, and said, bring me more light. Or let's say somebody says, I want to share the light with everybody I know in the whole world to make this a brighter place. Is there a special saying or words or mantra or something that you would recommend for them?
Something the angels often have people say is, I am one with the light and the light is one with me. I am loved by the light and the light is one with me. So that's something that they can say to bring more light into their lives. And then I think it's important also because in this dimension we have a lot of entities posing as angels that are actually aliens, and they have a very different agenda. So it's important to say, I invite in, the light that is for my highest and best good only, or the highest frequency, divine light only. My practice, I think, is so powerful because I really am very picky about who I allow myself to work with on the supernatural realm, and I only work with the archangels because they're the highest frequency that I can find, and their work is impeccable. So you don't just want to call in any light, you want to call in divine light.
Margo, thank you so much for being with us. Be prepared and surprised and pleased when you experience Margo Mateas' work. Her website, again, is getrealanswers.com and freedbythelight.com. Margo Mateas excels at being able to see inside your body and clear items, and that's because of her letter combination, ATE. If you have the name with an ATE in that exact order, you too can assist others in releasing their negativity and transmuting it into light. Do you know where your genius lies? I'm Sharon Lynn Weil, host of the radio show Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, and I'm signing off.